You all remember in the previous module we covered the operator, binary operators such as multiplication, division, subtraction, and addition. And we said if we try to combine this operator, for example, salary multiplied by 12 plus 200, well, what we mean first we have to compute the salary multiplied by 12, then add 200 to that one, or first we have to multiply salary by 12 months and then add it. Let's put it this one the reverse. If I have the right here the 12 be right here, 12 multiply which format, and if you remember as result we say you're gonna have two different results. One option is gonna be this one, that salary plus 200, it is a better 12-month salary than a salary like this one, that this one should multiply by this and then added this one, 12 multiplied by 12 and then added 200. So that was what we covered in the previous chapter, in the previous module. In this module we're gonna have the same and that, as we explained it, that one we said the algebra rule apply in this format. Now right here we don't have algebraic rules for if we using conditional operator, if you're using comparison condition, if we're using is not, like operator, between, not equal, logical operators such as not, and or. What is the rule for that one? The precedence rule as follow: arithmetic operator number 1, number 2 concatenation operator, number 3 comparison, 4, 5, 6, as you can see right here. Let's do a simple example for that. Let's consider if we have an example like this one. Select employee ID, last name, job ID, salary. From employee, where salary greater than 10,000, or job ID like MAN, wild character that we use, and employee ID greater than 200, and employee ID is not null, and manager ID is within this 100, 101, or 202, 201. If we're looking at this one, we have to follow up this rule. So this one calculated first, this one come up with the true or false. Whatever is the result of this one, then concatenation operator. Let's go add a concatenation. Here I added a AB. Let's imagine that I'm gonna adding this AN from right here, move it, and asking to end up with the AN, and I'm going to taking this AN out. Let's say that the last two characters of the name should be AN. So let's imagine this in scenario. So always we set the arithmetic first, concatenation second. So this one should be done first, and then this one should compare with the like. Then if follow up again, this one should be done. So this one which is arithmetic operator with this one goes first, this one goes second, and the AND operator and NOT operator, as you going to see, logical NOT operator and operator, next and next and next. So this is the format that you're going to execute this query. You're going to see even the query that we have like similar to this one, which is just funny query. If we execute, it generates some row and returns some result. But the precedence rule, which we use it right here, apply in all step of it. Here's more example in your book how you can use the AND mixing and OR operator, as you're going to see a step 1 and a step 2. The next step that we're using the sort or order by. When we would like to sort a data on the SQL, we have to use the order by. So for example, select last name, job ID, department ID, hiring date from employee table, but we would like to sort it based on the ascending or descending by last name, job ID, department, or hiring date. In this example, we're using to sort the database on the hiring date. If we do not specify this descending, it means automatically it order the data by hiring date. Ascending means start from lowest character, go to the highest character. Let's go look at it, example of it. The result of this query, you're going to see if we execute it, it's going to order by hiring date, and higher date is from lowest start, go from 87 to 94, 99. You go to highest one. But if we use the describe option, descending option, by putting the word DESC at the end of the field, it means order descending. Let's execute this one, and you're going to see that the data reversed. And right here we have the highest one, go all the way to lowest one. Right here you're going to see that it start with the 00, 99, 99 and go down to 87. Also, we can order by more than one column, for example department ID, and adding as many more options we want right here. Department ID, after department ID order by job ID, and one of them descending, ascending, any format that we want. We can order it by the or sort it by the format that we prefer. And if it is executing and ordering again by the job ID, first department ID and next job ID. As you can see, this is another example that we have it in your book. Also use the alias option. Another option is available. Instead of putting the column number, column name order by number 3. This 3, 1, 2, 3 mean this is column 1, column 2, column 3. So in fact, when I'm going to say order by 3, mean order by option number 3, which is department ID. So it is one way again we can say order by department ID or order by column 3 in my select statement. This is also available. And as I explained before, we can use multiple columns. The next step we're going to substituting variable. What it does mean? It means that if I select a statement and I would like to employee ID, but I don't want to rewrite the query over and over again, I can put in right here a variable # follow up by any employee number, and generate as a result a pop-up window, and every time it asks me put a new employee number. Let's look at this example right here. And if I'm going to execute this example, you're going to see that it's going to prompt me enter the value. Let me bring it right here. It asks me enter value for employee number, and I'm going to put employee number, for example 200, and it's going to say this is employee. If I use the slash and run it, and now I'm going to say 201, and it's going to display me employee 201. And I can use any employee number and not have to rewrite this query over again, because it automatically take this number and replace it, take the number 200 or 201 and replace this employee number with this 200. Here's another interesting example. You're going to see that we use the ampersand for the variable job title, but when we're going to see IT PROG, IT programmer or whatever, then you're going to see that it display multiple row. Here is another example. We use the AND operator for 3 different locations in our query, and you're going to see right here we have column name, we have right here we use them for condition, and right here we use AND operator for order column. There we put in the first pop-up that show up for this one, for this first one, which is column name, and we're going to put the column that we would like to replace ampersand column name with the salary column of the table. We would like to replace the condition right here, the second window pop-up, with the salary greater than $15,000. And the third one, we would like order column, order by last name. Let's run this example. I ran this example, place a semicolon. Don't get confused with this 2, 3, 4. This is because really when we're running a query, the Unix does not have the opportunity to return you all in line 1, line 2, or line 3 or 4. So you're going to return all 2, 3, line 2, 3, 4 after you pasting the code or your script. The first one is the enter the value for column name. We're going to put salary. Then we press enter. So you're going to stay right here. You're going to say I'm going to replace the and columns name with the salary. We're going to put the salary greater than 1500. Salary greater than 1500 or 15,000. Now you go to the third one, and now you go to the condition. It replaces the second one, which is the condition right here we have in the word clause. It replaces the condition with this and condition. We replace it with the salary greater than 15,000, and the last name we would like order column by last name, and we press enter. So you're going to take this value and replace by the take the third one and replace it by last name, and as you're going to see, we're going to see the result for multiple column. If I L, which is a stand for list, then I can see my query again, and I can use the slash to run it again. Well, for one moment, forget about the to and. Let's consider an operator. We have one of it. Let's consider I'm going to run a query, and first I would like to put column name right here, and I would like to put the column name right here. But I want to have one pop-up window. Only one pop-up window take care for the same column, for example salary. So if I do the first one double ampersand and second one 1, it means take the column value that I put for this one and this one. However, you cannot put 3 and or 4 and. The maximum you can go by 2. So when I ran this query, one time I'm going to put department ID, for example, and it replaces this one with department ID. Also, you're going to replace this one with department ID in one shot, in one time, in one pop-up window, not multiple time. Let's try test this one. Here I paste my query, run it. Let's say consider that we said the column department ID. And it's supposed to replace this one with this department name and replace this one with the same value. So in one shot you're going to running both, and as you're going to see, it ran both. In contrast to the single ampersand, right here we had a double ampersand that we use in double, one right here, one right there. But let's try a slash. When I ran a slash, it ran the query. What is the point? How come with the single I didn't have this difficulty, but with the double we have? Well, because Oracle use, when you use in double, internally you're going to use a define command. What is a define command? Let me write here type define. When I type define, you're going to see that the Oracle in the environment declare a variable, define a variable, name it column name, and replace it with department ID. Well, solution to that one, I can go ahead and undefine that variable. So if I'm going to say undefined and bring it right here, put undefined and my column name. Now if I ran this one, now if I ran my query, now again you're going to see that they ask me put the put value, enter value for column name. And now if I'm going to put the column name, again you're going to create a define a variable right here and set that value. Let me stop this one, and one moment, let's look at if I put the define again. If I put the word define, you're gonna see that Oracle take out the define variable. I mean, we undefine that one right here. We undefine it, and no longer the column name exists. So if I'm gonna scroll down, you're gonna see that no longer I have the column name. But if I ran my query again, it gonna generate that define option for me. Now if I'm going to put the value column name, let's see, I put department ID, it gonna run it, and also put the column value department ID. I mean, it gave me error. Let me look at least my and run it one more time, and I'm gonna say put the department ID. You're gonna see it's run it, and if I put define, it's gonna show me that Oracle declare a variable column name and put the value department ID in that one. That's the reason 2 and %, it work like the one that I said in the previous slide. In this slide, 2 and % it go work. There are two more points. One more is verify on and verify off. Verify on and verify off do the following. Let's look at this example again and try to explain what verify on and verify off. We have two commands, verify on, verify off, or verify on. By default is verify is on. What I mean by verify on, if I ran this query, it's gonna ask me put the value for condition, and I'm gonna put salary greater than 15,000. Then it gonna put me the old value was the where clause was this one, and we replace it with the salary greater than 15,000. Now if I set the verify off, you're not gonna see this default display. Let me show it to you. I'm going to set verify off, and by set verify off, now if I ran my query, it's going to ask me to enter value for condition. I'm going to put salary greater than 15,000, and you're going to see that it won't display any more condition off or on, none of those. And then I'm going to put the value for column name, which is the last name, which is order column, and I put the value order column, display that one. So you're not going to see that anymore. It's going to display the and up the where verify the where condition, replace it with the some other value, and that's what we call it verify off and on. So we have define, undefined. Define and undefined does not need the words the command set, but verify off or verify on, we have to use the command set. We set verify off, set verify on. By default, set verify is on always. Here is the example of define. We set the environment variable define. We're going to set define employee number equal to 200. If I do this one, if I copy and paste this one, let me show it to you. If I type define, it's going to show me the current define if exists any, and you're going to see I have a defined column name department that already we explained that one. But I can create an environment variable myself by typing what? By typing define employee last name. Let me copy paste that one. It failed. In fact, I'm typing define employee equal to 200, and let's try that one again. Let me clear that one. If I type define, so we can see the one that already created by Oracle when we using the double ampersand, and we're going to do one ourselves. And now if we type define, you're going to see that we create a new environment variable employee num and assign to that one the value 200. And so we can do the job of the double ampersand by using defining a variable, and then right here in the ampersand we're using this one. So it means that if I run this query, it won't stop and ask me enter a value for employee name. Let's try this one. Let me go ahead, clean my screen, and see I ran it and it execute without stopping and asking me what is the value for employee number, because it picked it up from the environment variable which already we set that environment variable. We defined that environment variable. Here's the example of verify that already I explained it to you. Thank you.